Close your eyes, if you wish, and let the world slip away for a moment. Imagine yourself lying on a soft bed, the air round you warm and still, the distant hum of the modern world fading into silence. Tonight, we're stepping back thousands of years to a land where the stars burned brighter, where the gods whispered in the wind, and where every fever, every nightmare, might be the work of a demon. Welcome to ancient Babylon, a place of clay houses and towering ziggurats, where the boundary between the spiritual and the physical was as thin as a reed mat. This is boring history for sleep, and for the next 2 hours, we'll walk together through the lives of those who trembled beneath unseen forces, the priests who fought them, and the rituals that bound their world together. There's no rush here, just a gentle journey through time, designed to cradle your mind as you drift toward rest. Let's begin where the air is thick with dust and the scent of burning reeds, in the heart of Mesopotamia, where a single moment of sickness could mean something far more sinister. Picture yourself not as a visitor, but as someone who belongs here, someone whose very soul might hang in the balance. This is the story of a patient, trembling in a clay house, waiting for the priest to banish the demon within. Imagine yourself waking in the dim light of a small, square room. The walls are made of sun-baked clay, smooth but slightly uneven, their surfaces warm to the touch even as the cool of dawn lingers. The air is heavy, thick with the scent of dust carried on the breeze from the Mesopotamian plains, a scent that mingles with the faint, acrid tang of bitumen from the streets outside. Your bed is a simple mat of woven reeds, softened by a thin layer of wool, but it offers little comfort today. Your body feels wrong hot, trembling, your limbs heavy as if pressed down by an unseen weight. Your throat is dry, your head throbs, and a strange unease coils in your chest. You try to sit up, but the effort leaves you dizzy, the world tilting as though the ground itself is unsteady. Your family huddles nearby, their voices low and urgent. Your mother, her hands rough from years of grinding barley, presses a damp cloth to your forehead. It smells faintly of river water and herbs, a fleeting relief against the fever. Your brother, barely old enough to tend the family's goats, watches from the doorway, his eyes wide with fear. They don't speak of it directly, but you hear the word whispered among them, āšipu, a demon. They believe it has entered your body, twisting your thoughts, stealing your strength. In ancient Babylon, illness is rarely just illness. A fever, a nightmare, a sudden pain, these are signs of something darker, something that lurks beyond the veil of the seen world. And now they say, "It has found you." You try to protest, to insist it's only a passing sickness, but your voice is weak, and their faces are set with grim certainty. The neighbors have already begun to talk. You overhear snatches of their hushed conversations through the thin walls, a curse, perhaps, from a spurned lover. No, a winged demon carried on the desert air. Did she step over a grave unknowingly? In this world, every misfortune has a cause, and every cause is spiritual. To be sick is to be vulnerable, not just to death, but to the unseen forces that prey on the living. The gods are distant, the demons are near, and your family knows there is only one way to save you. They send for the āšipu, the exorcist priest, the one who walks between the worlds of flesh and spirit. As you lie there, the rhythm of their lives continues around you. The clatter of clay pots being stacked in the courtyard, the low bleating of goats, the soft scrape of a broom sweeping dust from the floor. These sounds are familiar grounding, but they do little to ease the fear gnawing at your heart. You try to focus on the ordinary, to anchor yourself to the world you know. The room smells of the barley porridge your mother made this morning, now cooling in a bowl by the hearth. The faint sweetness of dates lingers in the air, mixed with the sharper scent of cedar oil your sister uses to anoint her hair. But these comforts feel distant, overshadowed by the weight of your condition. You close your eyes, and the darkness behind your lids feels too vast to alive. As though something watches you from within, the āšipu arrives as the sun climbs higher, his presence announced by the soft jingle of amulets tied to his belt. He is not young, but his movements are deliberate, his eyes sharp beneath a brow lined with years of study. His robe, woven from fine wool, is dyed a deep indigo, a color reserved for those who serve the gods. In his hands, he carries a basket of tools, clay tablets inscribed with cuneiform, a small vial of sacred oil, and a bundle of reeds bound with linen thread. His voice, when he speaks, is low and steady, like the flow of the Euphrates River, and it carries the weight of authority. Do not fear, he says, addressing you directly, though his gaze seems to see beyond you. Into the unseen, the gods have not abandoned you. We will drive out the evil. The ritual begins with a purification. Your mother and sister help you sit up, their hands gentle but firm as they guide you to a low stool in the center of the room. The āšipu sprinkles water over you, cool and faintly salty, drawn from a sacred spring and blessed under the starlight of the previous night. It trickles down your face, pooling in the hollow of your collarbone, and you shiver despite the heat. The priest chants in a language you only half understand, Sumerian, older than the city itself, its syllables rolling like waves. May the waters of E, Lord of the Deep, wash away the impurity, he intones. May the breath of Shamash, Lord of Light, burn away the darkness. The words are not meant for you alone, they are a plea to the gods, a command to the demon within you. Next, he anoints you with oil, his fingers pressing it into your skin at precise points, your temples, your wrists, the soles of your feet. The oil smells of cedar and myrrh, rich and heavy, and it leaves your skin slick and warm. You feel the weight of his hands, steady and practiced, as though he is mapping the boundaries of your body to keep the demon contained. He places a small clay figurine on the floor before you, its surface rough and etched with symbols. It represents the āšipu, he explains, the demon of fever and madness. Its face is featureless, but its form is vaguely human, hunched and menacing. You stare at it, and for a moment, you swear you see it shift, though it must be a trick of the light. The āšipu continues his work, his voice a constant, soothing drone. He burns a handful of reeds in a small clay brazier, and the smoke curls upward, filling the room with a sharp, earthy scent. The fumes make your eyes water, but they also calm you, as though the smoke is drawing the fear out of your body. He recites incantations from a tablet, his fingers tracing the wedge-shaped marks as he reads. The words are strange, a mix of commands and pleas. O āšipu, release this soul. O Marduk, bind the evil in chains of light. You don't understand every word, but their rhythm is hypnotic, lulling you into a state between waking and dreaming. Your family watches in silence, their faces a mix of hope and dread. They believe in the āšipu, but they also know that not every ritual succeeds. Sometimes the demon is too strong, or the gods turn their faces away. You've heard stories of others in the city, men and women who lingered in fever, their bodies wasting away, their spirits claimed by the underworld. You try not to think of them, focusing instead on the priest's voice, on the cool touch of the water, on the faint crackle of the burning reeds. But the fear is there, a shadow at the edge of your mind whispering that you might not be saved. The ritual grows more intense now. The āšipu takes a second figurine, this one shaped like a lion, a symbol of protection. He buries it beneath the floor near your bed, murmuring prayers to keep the demon from returning. He ties a cord of red wool around your wrist, a charm to bind you to the world of the living. He speaks of curses, of the possibility that someone, a rival, a jealous lover, an angry neighbor has sent this evil against you. He asks you questions, his voice gentle but probing. Have you offended anyone? Have you walked through a place of the dead? Have you dreamed of shadows? You shake your head, too weak to answer fully, but the questions linger, planting seeds of doubt. What if you are cursed? What if this is your fault? As the day wears on, the āšipu performs the final act of the ritual. He takes the clay figurine of the āšipu and wraps it in a piece of linen, tying it tightly with black thread. He carries it outside to a small pit dug in the earth and buries it far from the house. The demon is bound, he says, his voice rising slightly, though still calm. It will not return. He scatters ashes over the pit, a final seal, and returns to you. He places a hand on your forehead, his touch cool now, and speaks a blessing. May your dreams be guarded by Ishtar. May your body be strong under Shamash. You feel a shift, a lightness, though whether it's the ritual or exhaustion, you cannot say. You lie back on your mat, the room quieter now, the air cooler as evening approaches. The āšipu gathers his tools, his movements unhurried, and speaks softly to your family. They nod, their faces less tense, though the worry remains. You close your eyes and the world feels softer, the edges blurred. The scent of cedar lingers, the echo of the priest's chants still hums in your ears. You don't know if the demon is truly gone, but for now you feel safe, held by the rhythm of their lives, by the ancient words that have carried your people through countless nights. You drift, not quite asleep, but not fully awake, carried on the current of a world where gods and demons walk among you. The life of a Babylonian patient is not easy. Every ache, every dream, every shadow could be a sign of something greater, something malevolent. You live in a world where the unseen is as real as the clay beneath your feet, where every illness demands a ritual, every fear a prayer. The āšipu is your bridge to the divine, your shield against the dark. But even his power is not certain. As you lie there, the sounds of the city fading into the distance, you wonder what it must be like. To be him, to carry the weight of souls, to speak to gods, to battle demons in the quiet of the night. Imagine yourself standing in the shadow of a towering ziggurat, its stepped sides rising like a stairway to the heavens, the air thick with the scent of incense and the distant murmur of prayers. You are no longer the trembling patient, confined to a reed mat, but a āšipu, a priest-exorcist, one who walks the delicate line between the mortal and the divine. Your name is in Lil Bonnie, a man of 40 winters, your hands calloused from years of tracing cuneiform on clay, your eyes weary from nights spent chanting under starlight. Your life is one of service, not to kings or wealth, but to the gods who hold the fates of men in their hands. From the moment you wake as the first light of Shamash touches the earth, to the moment you rest, your days are filled with the rhythm of rituals, the weight of omens, and a quiet struggle to banish the unseen evils that plague your people. Let us walk with you now through the dusty streets of Sippar, through the cool halls of the temple, and into the heart of a life both sacred and burdened. Your journey begins long before you were called to the bedside of the sick, long before you carried the title of āšipu. As a boy, you were chosen not by chance, but by the will of the gods, or so the priests told you. Your father was a scribe, his fingers stained with the ink of reed pens, his life spent copying the laws of Hammurabi onto tablets that would outlast him. He saw in you a sharpness of mind, a stillness that set you apart from your brothers, who preferred the clamor of the marketplace or the labor of the fields. At the age of 7, you were sent to the temple of Shamash in Sippar, a city of baked clay and sacred springs, where the air smells of river mud and blooming tamarisk. The temple is vast, its walls adorned with glazed tiles that shimmer blue and gold in the sunlight. Its courtyards alive with the soft clink of clay tablets being stacked by scribes. Here, you learn to read the wedge-shaped script of cuneiform, your small hands trembling as you pressed a stylus into soft clay, forming signs that held the wisdom of the gods. Your teachers, stern men with beards curled like river reeds, taught you the ancient tongue of summer, its words heavy with the weight of centuries. You memorized hymns to E, Lord of Wisdom, and Marduk, Slayer of Chaos, their names rolling off your tongue like a river over stones. You learned the names of demons, Tosoku, bringer of fever, Lilichu, who haunts the dreams of children, Utaku, the restless dead who refuse to sleep in the underworld. Each name was a key, a weapon, a shield. To know a demon's name was to hold power over it, to bind it with words and send it back to the shadows. Your training was not only of the mind, but of the body and spirit. You were taught to breathe in the sacred way, slow and deep, as though drawing in the breath of the gods themselves. You practiced drawing seals, intricate patterns of lines and curves that represented the demons you would one day face. These seals, etched on clay or painted on linen, were more than art. They were barriers, traps, walls against the unseen. You stood for hours in the temple courtyard, your bare feet burning on the hot stone, learning to chant without faltering, your voice blending with the hum of the other novices. The sound was a living thing, rising and falling like the wind over the plains, and it filled you with a sense of purpose, though you were too young to fully understand it. At night, you slept on a thin mat in a dormitory of clay, the air cool and heavy with the scent of myrrh burning in a nearby brazier. Your dreams were vivid, filled with omens, eagles soaring over rivers, stars falling from the sky. Faces you did not recognize. The priests taught you to interpret these dreams, to see in them the will of the gods or the warnings of demons. A dream of water meant purification. A dream of fire meant destruction. A dream of a lion meant the protection of Ishtar. You learned to fear your own mind, for it was a gateway through which both gods and demons could speak. As you grew, so did your responsibilities. By your 20th year, you were no longer a novice but a junior āšipu, entrusted with minor rituals purifying a house struck by illness, blessing a newborn to ward off Lilichu, reading the liver of a sacrificed goat to divine the future. You carried a leather satchel heavy with tools, clay tablets inscribed with incantations, vials of sacred oil, amulets carved from carnelian and lapis lazuli. Your robe was simple then, undyed wool, but it marked you as one who served the gods. The people of Sippar knew you by sight, their eyes following you with a mix of awe and fear. To them, you were not just a man but a bridge to the divine, a shield against the terrors of the night. Your first true test came during a plague that swept through the city like a shadow. The air was thick with the cries of the sick, the streets silent except for the wails of mourners. The king himself, a distant figure who ruled from Babylon, sent word that the āšipu must act, must drive out the evil that had angered the gods. You were summoned to the palace, your heart pounding as you walked through its gates, past guards with spears tipped with bronze, past courtiers in robes of crimson and gold. The king's daughter lay ill, her skin pale as ash, her breath shallow. You stood before her, your hands steady despite the fear that coiled in your chest. You sprinkled water blessed under the moon, anointed her with oil that smelled of cedar and myrrh, and chanted the words you had memorized as a boy. O Osoku, release this soul. O Marduk, bind the evil in chains of light. You burned reeds, the smoke curling upward, and buried a clay figurine of the demon beneath the palace floor. The girl lived, and for a moment, you felt the gods' presence, their power flowing through you. But not every ritual succeeded. There was a child, a boy no older than you were when you entered the temple, whose fever would not break. You tried everything: incantations, oils, amulets, even a rare ritual that required the blood of a white dove. His mother clutched your robe, her tears soaking the fabric, begging you to save him. You chanted until your voice was hoarse, your knees aching from kneeling on the clay floor. But the boy's eyes grew dull, his breath stopped, and the demon, or perhaps simply death, claimed him. You stood in the silence that followed, the weight of failure pressing down on you like a stone. The mother did not blame you, but her grief was a mirror, reflecting your own doubts. Had you misread an omen? Had you offended the gods? That night, you lay awake, staring at the stars through a narrow window, wondering if you were truly chosen or merely a man pretending to wield divine power. The years passed, and you grew into your role. You were called to houses both humble and grand, to fields where crops withered under a curse, to marketplaces where merchants feared the evil eye. You learned to read the faces of those who sought your help, the trembling hands of a farmer, the desperate eyes of a mother, the quiet resignation of an old man who knew his time was near. You learned to speak with authority, to let your voice carry the weight of the gods. Even when your heart was uncertain, you performed rituals under the moon, when the veil between worlds was thinnest, your chants blending with the rustle of palm fronds and the distant howl of jackals. You wore a mask of bronze shaped like the face of E to channel his wisdom, its weight heavy on your shoulders. You burned wax figures of demons, watching their forms melt into nothingness, and you buried amulets beneath thresholds to guard against their return. Yet the pressure never eased. The king demanded miracles, the people demanded hope, and the gods demanded perfection. You felt their eyes upon you, not just in the temple, but in every moment of your life. A misspoken word, a forgotten offering, a moment of doubt these could anger the divine, could bring ruin not just to you, but to those you served. You carried this burden quietly, your face a mask of calm, your voice steady even when your heart was not. You learned to live with the fear that you might fail, that the demons might win, that the gods might turn away. As you aged, your body began to protest the demands of your calling. Your knees ached from kneeling, your eyes strained from reading tablets by lamplight, your voice grew hoarse from endless chants. You began to think of your own end, of the rituals that would ensure your spirit did not linger as an utaku, a restless ghost. You prepared your tomb, a simple chamber of clay bricks inscribed with protective seals. You chose amulets to be buried with you, a lion's head to guard against demons, a carnelian bead to honor Shamash. You wrote your own incantation, a plea to the gods to guide your soul to the underworld, to let you rest in peace. You did not fear death, not exactly, but you feared becoming what you had spent your life fighting, a spirit trapped between worlds, haunting those you loved. Your life was one of service, but it was also one of solitude. You had no wife, no children, for the temple demanded your whole heart. Your companions were the gods, the demons, the tablets that held the wisdom of ages. You found comfort in the rhythm of your days, the cool touch of clay, the scent of burning reeds, the hum of chants under the stars. You were in Lil Bonnie, āšipu, bridge to the divine, shield against the dark, and your life was a quiet battle fought in the name of those who could not fight for themselves. As you stand now in the twilight of your years, you hold a tablet in your hands, its surface etched with the words of the Makli series, the ancient incantations that have guided your work. These words, written centuries before you were born, are more than spells. They are a map of the unseen, a guide to the forces that shape the world. You trace the cuneiform with your finger, feeling the weight of history, the power of names. The Makli is your legacy, but it is also a mystery, a set of rituals so intricate, so precise, that even you, with all your years of study, cannot fully unravel their meaning. As you prepare for your next ritual, you wonder about the hands that first wrote these words, the minds that shaped them, the demons they sought to banish. Let us turn now to the Makli itself, to the clay tablets that hold the secrets of the world's first recorded exorcisms, and to the ancient voices that still speak through them. Imagine yourself seated in the cool shadowed chamber of a temple library, the air heavy with the musty scent of clay tablets stacked in neat rows along the walls, each one etched with the wedge-shaped marks of cuneiform holding secrets older than the city of Babylon itself. You are surrounded by silence, broken only by the soft rustle of palm fronds outside and the faint crackle of a lamp burning sesame oil, its light casting flickering shadows across the uneven floor. In your hands you hold a tablet, one of 9 that form the Makli series, the world's oldest known exorcism manual. Its surface cool and smooth, its inscriptions are mapped to a world where demons are named, bound, and banished with words as sharp as bronze. This is not a story of heroes or battles, but of quiet, deliberate rituals performed under the moon, of incantations that weave together poetry and power, of a culture that saw the unseen as clearly as the rivers and reeds of Mesopotamia. Let us walk gently through the Makli series, exploring its words, its rituals, its mysteries, and the hands that carried it into being, as we unravel the delicate threads of belief that held ancient Babylon together. The Makli, meaning burning in Akkadian, is a collection of incantations and rituals, written between the 8th and 7th centuries BCE, designed to protect against witchcraft, demons, and curses, those invisible forces that could twist a life into ruin. Picture the tablets themselves, each one no larger than your hand. They're clay-baked to a reddish-brown hue, their surfaces crowded with precise, angular marks that seem to hum with purpose. These tablets were not written for the common person, but for the āšipu, the priest-exorcist, who would use them as a guide in the dark hours of the night, when the veil between worlds grew thin. The series is structured as a single, continuous ritual, meant to be performed over the course of a night, from dusk to dawn, under the watchful gaze of the moon and stars. Its words are both command and plea, a dialogue between the mortal and the divine, invoking gods like Shamash, and Marduk to drive out evil and restore balance to a world thrown into chaos. The Makli begins with an invocation, a call to the gods to witness the ritual and lend their power. Imagine the āšipu standing in a courtyard, the air cool and heavy with the scent of burning reeds, his voice steady as he speaks the opening words, "I call upon you, O gods of the night, to stand beside me as I face the darkness." These words, etched into the first tablet, are not just a greeting, but a contract, a binding agreement between the priest and the divine. The ritual is precise, its steps laid out like a map. First the purification of the space with water and oil, then the naming of the evil, then the burning of figures to destroy it, and finally the sealing of the protection with amulets and prayers. Each step is a layer, building a wall against the unseen, and the Makli guides the āšipu through every moment, ensuring no mistake is made. The heart of the Makli lies in its incantations, over 100 of them, each one a poem that blends beauty with power. One incantation, carved deep into the clay, reads, "May your smoke rise, O witchcraft, and never return. May your evil be scattered like dust before the wind." These words are not just spoken but sung, their rhythm designed to lull the listener into a trance, to align the human voice with the pulse of the cosmos. The āšipu would chant these lines while holding a wax figure, shaped to represent the demon or the curse, its form soft and pliable under his fingers. He would burn it in a brazier, watching the flames consume it, the smoke curling upward like a prayer to the gods. The act of burning was symbolic, a way to transform the intangible into something that could be destroyed, to take the fear of the unknown and give it shape, then reduce it to ash. The Makli is obsessed with naming. For in ancient Babylon, to name a thing was to control it. The tablets list demons by name: āšipu, āšipu, namtra, each one a specific threat, each one tied to a particular kind of suffering. A fever might be āšipu, a nightmare might be āšipu, a sudden death might be namtra. By naming the demon, the āšipu stripped it of its mystery, made it something that could be fought. The incantations are filled with commands: "I bind you, O demon, with the chains of Marduk. I cast you out with the light of Shamash." These words were spoken with authority, but also with humility. For the āšipu knew he was only a vessel, his power borrowed from the gods. The ritual was always performed at night, under the moon, for this was when demons were most active, when their whispers could slip into dreams and twist them into terrors. Imagine the scene: a courtyard lit only by starlight, the air cool and sharp with the scent of myrrh, the āšipu standing alone, his robe catching the faint glow of the moon, his voice rising and falling in a steady cadence. He would sprinkle water from a sacred spring, its droplets catching the light as they fell, and anoint the patient with oil that smelled of cedar and tamarisk. He would place amulets, small clay lions, beads of carnelian, seals inscribed with protective signs around the patient's bed, creating a barrier that no demon could cross. The Makli also includes instructions for dream interpretation, for in Babylon, dreams were not just the mind's wanderings but messages from the gods or attacks by demons. A dream of fire might mean a curse, a dream of water might mean cleansing, a dream of a shadow might mean āšipu was near. The āšipu would ask the patient about their dreams, his eyes searching their face for signs of fear, his hands steady as he wrote their words on a tablet to consult later. The Makli was not just a ritual but a performance, a drama played out between the mortal and the divine, with the patient as both audience and participant. The tablets themselves are a marvel, not just for their words but for their survival. They were discovered in the 19th century by archaeologists digging through the ruins of Nineveh, and Sippar, their clay cracked but intact, buried beneath layers of dust and time. Picture the moment of their unearthing, a scholar's hands brushing away the earth, revealing the faint outlines of cuneiform, the words of a lost world coming back to life. These tablets were stored in temple libraries, guarded by priests who saw them as sacred, their knowledge too powerful for common hands. Some were copied over centuries, their words unchanged, their power undimmed. Others were buried with their owners, ensuring the rituals would protect them even in death. The Makli is both literal and metaphorical, a question that scholars still debate. Did the Babylonians believe in demons as real, physical beings, or were they symbols of fear, illness, and chaos? The answer lies somewhere in between. To the people of Babylon, the line between the physical and the spiritual was blurred, like the horizon at dusk. A fever was both a sickness and a demon, a nightmare was both a dream and an attack. The Makli gave them a way to fight both, to impose order on a world that felt chaotic and unpredictable. The rituals were practical, too, a form of medicine in a world without antibiotics or surgery. The act of chanting, of burning figures, of placing amulets, gave people hope. a sense that they could fight the unseen, that they were not powerless. The Makli was a shield, a sword, a prayer, all at once. Its language is poetic, but its purpose is deadly serious: to protect the soul, to restore balance, to keep the world spinning as it should. The rituals were not performed in isolation, but as part of a larger web of belief. The āšipu worked alongside other priests, diviners, and healers, each with their own role in the cosmic order. The Makli was one tool among many, but it was the most powerful, the most revered. Its words were memorized, its rituals practiced with care, its tablets treated as sacred objects. The āšipu would carry a copy with him, its weight a constant reminder of his duty. He would consult it before every ritual, his fingers tracing the cuneiform as he prepared his mind and spirit. The Makli was his guide, his anchor, his connection to the gods. But the Makli was not perfect, nor was it infallible. There are hints in the tablets of doubt, of rituals that failed, of demons that returned. One incantation speaks of a curse that comes back like a river, a haunting image of evil that cannot be fully banished. The āšipu knew this, felt it in his bones, but he performed the rituals anyway, because to do nothing was to surrender. The Makli was an act of defiance, a way to stand against the darkness, even if the darkness sometimes won. As you sit in the temple library, the tablet heavy in your hands, you feel the weight of centuries, the voices of countless priests who chanted these words before you. The Makli is a bridge to the past, but also a window into a world where the unseen was as real as the clay beneath your feet. Its rituals were performed for kings and commoners alike, but they were especially vital for those who lived in the shadow of the ziggurat, the elites of Babylon who could afford to guard their souls with gold and priests. Let us step now into their world, into the palaces where fear was a constant companion, where every dream was a message, and where the peace of the protected came at a cost. Imagine yourself stepping through the heavy cedar doors of a Babylonian palace, the air cool and fragrant with the scent of myrrh and sandalwood, a stark contrast to the dusty heat of the city beyond. You are not a priest or a patient now, but a noblewoman named Shujuri, a member of the king's court. Your life woven into the intricate tapestry of Babylon's elite. Your home is a sprawling complex of courtyards and chambers, its walls adorned with glazed tiles that shimmer in hues of lapis and gold, their patterns telling stories of gods and heroes. The floors are swept clean, covered with woven rugs dyed in crimson and indigo, and the air hums with the soft clink of silver vessels, and the distant laughter of servants preparing a feast. Your days are filled with luxury linen robes soft against your skin, jewelry of carnelian and turquoise that catches the light, meals of roasted lamb and honeyed dates, but beneath this calm lies a quiet paranoia, a fear that the gods or demons might turn against you. Your peace is bought with gold, with the constant presence of priests, with rituals that guard your soul as fiercely as guards protect the palace gates. Let us drift through your life, through the rituals that shield you, and into the heart of a world where even the powerful tremble before the unseen. Your morning begins with the rising of Shamash, the sun god, his light filtering through lattice windows to warm the clay tiles of your chamber. You rise from a bed draped in fine wool, its frame carved with images of protective spirits, and you wash in a basin of water scented with rose petals brought from a sacred spring by a servant, who moves with silent grace. Your personal god, your Ilu, is ever present, a divine companion whose favor you must maintain. You offer a small prayer to him, your voice soft as you burn a pinch of incense in a clay brazier, its smoke curling upward like a whispered plea. The scent fills the room, mingling with the faint sweetness of the dates you eat for breakfast, their sticky texture a reminder of the fertile lands beyond the city. Your Ilu is your shield, a spirit tied to your family, your lineage, and you honor him with offerings of bread and wine, placed on a small altar carved with his symbol a star within a circle. This act is not just devotion but necessity, for to neglect your Ilu is to invite misfortune, to open a door to demons who wait in the shadows. As a noble woman, your life is one of privilege, but it is not without its burdens. You consult astrologers daily, their charts spread out on a low table, their fingers tracing the paths of stars across papyrus. The heavens are a map of the gods' will, and you listen carefully as they speak of omens, A conjunction of planets might mean prosperity. A falling star might mean danger. You wear an amulet, a small clay lion's head inscribed with cuneiform, tied around your neck with a cord of red wool. It is heavy against your chest, a constant reminder of the forces you cannot see. At night, you place a demon trap bowl beneath your bed. Its surface etched with incantations and images of bound spirits, designed to capture any lilichu or utaku that might creep into your dreams. These bowls are expensive, their creation overseen by the āšipu, and they are a luxury few can afford. A mark of your status as much as your gold bracelets or your embroidered robes. Your days are filled with the rhythm of court life banquets, where musicians play lyres strung with gut their notes, soft and mournful meetings with other nobles, to discuss trade or marriage alliances. Moments of quiet in the garden where tamarisk trees sway in the breeze. But always, there is the undercurrent of fear. You have seen what happens when the gods withdraw their favor, families ruined by illness, crops withering under a curse, children lost to fevers that no ritual could banish. You know the stories of the Makli series, the incantations that burn away evil, and you have paid handsomely for the āšipu to perform them in your home. You have watched as he burns wax figures in a brazier, their forms melting into nothingness, their smoke carrying away the fret of witchcraft. You have felt the cool touch of his hands as he anoints you with cedar oil, its scent lingering on your skin, a shield against the unseen. Your dreams are a constant concern, for they are not mere wanderings of the mind but messages from the divine or attacks by demons. Each morning you recount your dreams to a diviner, a woman with eyes sharp as obsidian, her hand steady as she writes your words on a clay tablet. A dream of water might mean purification, a dream of fire might mean destruction, a dream of a shadow might mean a demon is near. You tell her of a dream you had last night, a figure cloaked in darkness, standing at the edge of a river, its face hidden. She frowns, her fingers tightening around her stylus, and advises you to offer a sacrifice to Ishtar, to burn reeds and sprinkle water under the moon. You follow her advice, your heart heavy with the fear that the dream was not just a dream, but a warning. The āšipu comes to your home often, his presence a comfort and a reminder of your vulnerability. He is a man of quiet authority, his robe dyed indigo, his satchel heavy with tablets and amulets. He performs rituals in your courtyard, his voice a steady drone as he chants, "May the evil be bound, may the gods guard this house." He buries a clay figurine beneath your threshold, its form etched with the seal of Marduk, and he places a lion-headed amulet above your door. These acts are costly, paid for with silver and grain, but they are worth it for the peace they bring. You know that not all are so fortunate outside the palace walls. The common people rely on simpler charms, on prayers whispered in desperation, on rituals they cannot afford. Your wealth buys you protection, but it does not buy you certainty. The contrast between your life and theirs is stark. Where you bathe in scented water, they wash in the muddy Euphrates. Where you eat lamb and dates, they eat barley bread and lentils. Where you sleep beneath demon trap bowls, they lie awake, listening for the whispers of lilichu. Your life is one of calm, but it is a fragile calm, maintained by constant vigilance, by the gold that flows from your hands to the priests. You envy the simplicity of their lives, even as you pity their vulnerability. They face demons with little more than faith, while you face them with the full might of Babylon's temples. Yet the fear is the same, a shadow that lingers in every heart, rich or poor. Your nights are filled with rituals, small and large. Before bed, you light a lamp filled with sesame oil, its flame steady and warm, a beacon to keep the darkness at bay. You recite a prayer to Ishtar, goddess of love and war, asking her to guard your dreams. You check the demon trap bowl, ensuring its inscriptions are intact, its power unbroken. You sleep lightly, waking at the slightest sound, a creak of the floor, a rustle of the wind, your heart pounding until you are sure it is nothing. Your life is one of beauty, of luxury, but it is also one of quiet paranoia, a constant dance with the unseen. The āšipu tells you of the Makli series, of its power to banish evil, and you cling to its words like a lifeline. You have seen the tablets, their cuneiform a mystery to you, but their presence is a comfort. You have paid for copies to be made, They're clay stored in a cedar box in your chamber, a luxury few can afford. These texts are not just words but talismans, their very existence a shield against the dark. You know that the Makli is performed for you, its incantations chanted in the night, its rituals binding the demons that might seek you out. But you also know that the Makli is not infallible, that sometimes the gods turn away, that sometimes the demons are stronger. As the years pass, you notice a change in the city. The old ways are fading, the temples less crowded, the priests less certain. The Persian kings who now rule from distant lands bring new gods, new rituals, new fears. The āšipu still come to your home, but their chant seems softer, their eyes more tired. The Makli is still performed, but its words feel like echoes, like memories of a time when the gods were closer. You cling to the old ways, to the amulets and prayers, to the scent of cedar oil and the hum of incantations. You fear the day when the rituals will cease, when the demons will walk unopposed, when the peace you have bought will crumble. But for now, you live in the shadow of the ziggurat, your life a delicate balance of luxury and fear, of faith and doubt. As you lie in your bed, the lamp burning low, you think of the Makli, of the priests who chant its words, of the gods who listen. You think of the city beyond your walls, of the people who live and die under the same stars. Their lives so different yet so alike. You think of the past, of the countless souls who faced the same fears, who sought the same protection. And you think of the present, of the quiet comfort of your bed, of the world that holds you now. Let us step back now from the palace to the broader sweep of Babylon's history, to reflect on the demons, the priests, and the rituals that bound them together, and to find a gentle rest in the story's end. As the stars will slowly above the ancient city of Babylon, their light dimmed by the passage of millennia, let us draw our journey to a gentle close, resting in the quiet echoes of a world where gods and demons walked among the living. Imagine yourself now not in the dusty plains of Mesopotamia, but in the soft embrace of your own bed, the air cool, and still, the weight of the day slipping away like sand through your fingers. We have walked together through the life of a trembling patient, felt the fevered heat of a clay house and the cool touch of sacred water. We have followed the steps of Boni, the āšipu, his voice steady as he chanted against the darkness, his hands tracing the ancient words of the Makli series. We have sat in the shadowed library of a temple, the clay tablets heavy with the weight of centuries, their incantations a shield against the unseen. And we have drifted through the opulent halls of Shujuri's palace, where luxury and fear intertwined, where the elite bought peace with gold and prayers. Each step of this journey has been a thread in the tapestry of Babylon, a world where the rhythm of life was shaped by the constant presence of the divine and the demonic, where every dream, every fever, every shadow held meaning. The Makli series, with its poetic commands and burning rituals, was more than a set of spells. It was a way to impose order on chaos, to give name to the nameless, to fight the fears that haunted every heart. The āšipu was not just a priest but a guardian, a bridge between the mortal and the divine. His life a quiet sacrifice to the gods he served, and the nobles with their amulets and demon-trap bowls remind us that even the powerful were not immune to the terrors of the unseen, their wealth a fragile shield against the forces that could unravel a soul. As we linger here, in the soft boundary between waking and sleep, consider the contrast between that ancient world and our own. Where the Babylonians saw demons in every fever, we see viruses and bacteria, mapped by science and fought with medicine. Where they burned wax figures and buried clay lions, we take pills and rest in sterile rooms. Yet the fears remain: fear of the unknown, of the forces we cannot control, of the shadows that linger at the edge of our dreams. The Makli may be silent now, its tablets buried in museum vaults, but its spirit lives on in our need to find meaning, to seek protection, to hold fast against the dark. The Babylonians faced their demons with chants and fire, with faith and ritual, and in their struggle we see a reflection of our own, a reminder that the human heart has always sought light in the face of shadow. Now, as you lie in the quiet of your own space, let the weight of Babylon fade, its dust and incense settling into memory. Feel the softness of your pillow, the gentle rise and fall of your breath. the warmth of the present moment. The gods and demons of ancient Mesopotamia are distant now. Their voice is a faint whisper carried on the wind. You are here, in this moment, safe and whole, carried by the rhythm of a story that has brought you to the edge of sleep. Let your mind drift, let your thoughts soften, let the world slip away. The ziggurats stand silent, the Euphrates flows on, and you are at rest. Cradled by the gentle tide of history, sleep well, and may your dreams be guarded by the light of stars.